What's going on, everybody? It is Kreyz McKormik up in this bitch. I'm part of the Retrospective, so I don't know what's going on here. However, thank you for being a part of the Retrospective. Happy Halloween, everybody. And I'm doing this to myself, basically. I have decided to to basically just fucking torture myself because of the fact that, well, you know, I mean, we're gonna basically be going through like the most torturous of shit. We're gonna be talking about Gamergate, everybody. So, if you haven't heard about Gamergate, Gamergate was a thing that happened sometime around 2012. A YouTuber by the name of Anita Sarkeesian ended up putting up a like she has this fucking channel called Feminist Frequency, where she basically had dedicated her time to talking about women empowerment and feminism and things of that nature. She on the channel ended up getting a lot of hate, she claims, from men, like that are, like male gamers, specifically just male gamers, that would constantly come and tell her how hot she was or how ugly she was, depending on the situation or the person or things of that nature. And basically, what it was is she uh like she claims that she knew who they, that it was all men saying this stuff about her and things of that nature, just due to the fact that she monitors the comment sections of everybody that comments on her Facebook, on her Twitter, on her YouTube account, or any other form of social media that she has a part of. And she would either accept or deny depending on whether or not it was a positive or a negative thing, which personally, um, I think that that's silencing. uh and to me that kind of takes away from what it is that you're actually giving, because there are because personally I feel like everybody has a voice, even if it's something that they are saying that they fully disagree with in real life. This is the internet, for God's sakes. There's a lot of people on here who fucking go out and they troll and shit like that. It is what it is. I've been a social media figure since 2009, maybe even longer than that. I've lost fucking count. But I've been a YouTuber. I've done stuff on Twitch. I've done things like this on Facebook, because the Retrospective was originally on Facebook, so on and so forth. And, so like, I understand fully that that's kind of part of the game. So, give before I continue, I do need to post this to the Sid Jones Network Facebook group page. Uh, let's see, what the hell was that? All right, Corrupt Doll Emily has hosted me with one viewer. Thank you for the host. I appreciate that. So let's see. I need to post this on. Let's see. Okay. All right, and posting right now. It's being posted here on the Sid Jones Network on Facebook. So we're gonna go ahead and continue this. So basically, anyways, so what ends up happening What ends up happening is Anita Sarkeesian ends up going on Kickstarter, and she announces that she wants to do a thing, like a series called Tropes versus Women in Video Games. She wanted to make a 12-part series and was asking for $6,000 to get launched. And apparently, what ends up happening is a bunch of internet trolls ended up bombarding the comments section. Like apparently it was found. Somebody found out about this due to 4chan, and 4chan users, which we all know are fucking internet trolls to begin with, ended up bombarding the fucking comments section and saying all sorts of nasty things. Word got out about this, and she didn't end up getting like $6,000 like she wanted. She ended up getting $158,000, which ended up launching the company that she created, which was Feminist Frequency. And for the longest fucking time, she really only had like 3 videos that went into it. I just looked onto a playlist that she had created for Tropes versus Women in Video Games. And there are 11 videos that are on there, and two sections of which are in multiple parts. Now we're not going to go through all of these because a lot of these videos that she had done are very lengthy, so I figured that we could probably just do some of these one at a time. And what I find interesting is so the video series is created by Anita Sarkeesian, and the project was funded by 6,968 backers on Kickstarter. Now, to top this off, a lot of these other ones are also fucking fundraiser videos. Like, she actually set this up so that way these are additional fundraisers in which these videos end up bringing in money as well, on top of the money that she had used to create these videos. Now, you would think that with a 12-part series that she would have some sort of, uh, like this would be some very high quality shit that she ended up putting up on these things. Let's just take a look at the fucking video. We're gonna be picking this apart bit by bit. This is in a sense the form of the original format that I would normally do when it concerns doing these type of videos. So it's basically click, stop, comment on whatever the fuck it is that we're talking about. Now, the problem with Gamergate, this was basically what it was. A lot of people ended up going out there and pushing the narrative that Anita Sarkeesian was not doing this as a form of fucking doing this shit as a gamer. And a lot of people have claimed that they have proven that Anita Sarkeesian is in fact not a gamer. So we're gonna have to take a look at this. This is going to be the look of one of many enemies, according to gamers in the gaming industry. I would say that Anita Sarkeesian is probably up there with Jack Thompson, but it is what it is. So here we go. Click. Oh, damn. Okay, so I don't know if this is ear blistering loud to you as well, but it definitely is for me. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying this. A lot of the editing that she has shown so far, uh, and on that other type of shit, like, okay, so far that I've seen, money has gone into the editing quality, because it takes a lot of money to learn how to cut a fucking video. It takes a lot of money, uh, it takes a lot of money to, like buy a camera with a tripod, the paint in the background, that makeup that she's wearing, those earrings that she's wearing. I'm pretty sure that this is part of the $6,000 that she wanted, as of right now. Okay. No, see, like you're separating the problem here. So, like, look, the way that most gamers look at games is the fact that, okay, if this is enjoyable, then I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to play it all the way through. If the game sucks, it just flat out sucks. And she looks drunk. Something tells, like, this still frame right here just basically says, I fucking washed down 4 Xanny bars with a gallon of gin. So let's go ahead and continue. Ooh, okay, so we're talking about damsels in distress. Okay. Rare is actually a very good company. 16-year-old character. Okay, so it's basically a fox doing stuff that you do in Turok. Okay, like, let's see what the fucking problem is. Okay, and she was a fucking anthropomorphic fox. And this is bad audio commentary. Okay, why? Oh my god. This is going to be an interesting fucking argument. Okay, so all right, so you still can't hear the chick. All right, let's see if I can figure out a way on how to turn on the devil. Let's see, let's try it again. Okay, so basically what she said, for you guys who missed it, I apologize. I'm still trying to work the kinks out of my Streamlabs, so that way things can be heard and shit. This is one of the main reasons why I was like 45 minutes late with this shit, because like totally unprepared. And I had to download the video. She looks drunk again. Shigeru Miyamoto looks more sober than Anita Sarkeesian at this point. But anyways, so I apologize for the audio problems. So basically, what she was saying was that this character from Dinosaur Planet, the 16-year-old anthropomorphic fox chick, she was strong and assertive and all this other stuff. And Shigeru Miyamoto, right there, basically joked about how she should be inserted into Star Fox 64. And apparently, this is the reason why Dinosaur Planet never rose from the ground. Okay, so let me go ahead and start this back up.
Over the next 2 years, he and Nintendo did just that. They rewrote and redesigned the game and released it as Star Fox Adventures for the GameCube in 2002.
Okay.
In this revamped version, the would-be protagonist Crystal has been transformed into a damsel in distress and spends the vast majority of the game trapped inside a crystal prison, waiting to be rescued by the new hero, Fox McCloud.
Okay, so first off, Fox McCloud is a little bit more established than your little fucking girl fox. Not to mention the girl fox would be a brand new fucking thing. And it's Nintendo. It really doesn't have anything to do with masculinity or feminism or anything like that. It's a business move. Star Fox, Fox McCloud, This is an established franchise from Nintendo, and at the time, Rare was working exclusively with fucking Nintendo. So in a sense, it's not even like I already know where this is gonna go. I have a feeling that I already know where this argument is gonna go. Males, they are from hell. They are the reason why women in video game franchises are being held back. Because they took what was an excellent idea from a name that shares a fucking name with a movie. So, like fucking copyright infringement, name infringement, like that's part of the patriarchy, mind you. And so, like, because of this, God, stop staring at me, you she devil whore magic. Anyways, so, like, fucking, like, basically, like, I already know where this is going. Like, like, I'm sorry, but I've got a fucking squirrel running in an exercise wheel in my head right now. But like the fact is I feel like I already know where this is going. But just to see if I'm right or wrong, let's just continue.
The in game action sequences that were originally built for Crystal were converted to feature Fox instead. Crystal
Yeah.
is given a skimpier, more sexualized outfit.
Okay.
Wow, she's beautiful.
Uh huh. Wait for it.
What am I doing?
And yes, that is cheesy saxophone music playing to make sure it's crystal clear that she is now an object of desire. Even
Have you ever heard of love at first sight? Watch the movie Wayne's World when Wayne Campbell sees fucking the whatever the rock and roll chick that's played by Tia Kareen, and and he starts hearing music there. Love at first sight is going to make, that's supposed, like, the cheesy jazz music in that game is supposed to simulate that he fell in love with her at first sight. And this is something that is empowering for both sexes, in all honesty. Yeah, she's in a skimpier outfit than what she showed in the fucking dinosaur video game that Rare was trying to fucking do. Yeah, okay, whatever. You also got to remember the time frame of which this was going on. There was a lot of fucking rebellion going on in all forms of media: movies, video games, television, wrestling. All sorts of stuff was going on during that time. You know what the fucked up thing about this is? You got to remember something. She's my age. She's my age. She's 37 right now. She was born in 1983. So she's somewhere between the ages of fucking 30. Hell no, I'm not going to interview her. Dude, I already looked ahead. It costs $20,000 for her to fucking just do like TED Talks and shit. Like $20,000. Fuck that. Fuck no. Fuck her. I'm not going to fucking spend a nickel to have her talk about something that happened 8 years ago. Now, here's the thing, though. You got to remember that during the time that the GameCube was out, during the time that the Nintendo 64 was out, all that other shit, like, there was a time of rebellion. Any wrestling fan remembers the fucking Attitude Era. This was around the same time that we were having Not Another Teen Movie, Scary Movie, Epic Movie, Superhero Movie, all of these fucking movies that are creating these tropes and shit like that. That nowadays every fucking person that claims that there is such a thing as masculine toxicity is fucking bitching about now. And now everybody's getting cucked the fuck out by the feminist movement, the third or fourth wave feminism movement. I'm not sure which one, but this is a prime example of what this is, the social justice bullshit. And I'm fucking happy. I'm kind of fucking happy I missed it. But and I'm not trying to fucking, I'm not really trying to fucking be like fucking like, I'm not trying to really come off as the dominant male. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm more of a realist than anything else. And this is a lot of stuff that she tends to fucking miss, especially with this cheesy jazz music shit. It's like, like let's see, what's another prime example? Wasn't it I believe it was in There's Something About Mary, the first time that the dude sees Mary in the very beginning of the movie when they're supposedly teenagers and shit, and all of a sudden he hears the fucking Commodores. I believe that's the right band. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? And then in Wayne's World, Dreamweaver, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Fucking, you start hearing Bad Medicine the minute Shannon Elizabeth comes into the movies. It's the same thing with this, only this is stock music, just so that way just because, or it's it's obvious that it's showing that Fox McCloud sees this person, sees this female fox, immediately has an attraction to her, love at first sight type of shit, thus creating the plot of the game. Let's move on.
While in suspended animation. To add insult to injury, Fox is now using her magical staff to fight his way through the game to save her.
Yes. Irony. It's ironic that he would use her staff to fucking fight off the villains to save her. If anything, it's called poetry. It's poetic that he would use her own fucking weapon. Does this bitch not understand what the fuck love is?
The tale of how Crystal went from protagonist of her own epic adventure.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right here so you can take a look at the female fox chick, and she's dressed up like a fucking Neanderthal. Okay? Personally, I think that Shigeru Miyamoto and Nintendo did the right thing.
To the passive victim in someone else's game, illustrates how the damsel in distress trope disempowers female characters and robs them of the chance to be heroes in their own right.
Plot!
The term damsel in distress
There goes another $100 for this fade transition.
Demoiselle simply means young lady, while détresse means roughly anxiety or despair caused by a sense of abandonment, helplessness, or danger.
I hate this woman
As a
so
trope,
much.
the damsel in distress is a plot device in which a female character is placed in a perilous situation from which she cannot escape on her own and must be rescued by a male character.
I would love to hear her use this exact same argument watching King Kong!
Usually providing the core incentive or motivation for the protagonist's quest.
Okay, so every single one of those photos that she showed, they were like oil paintings of specific, and you could tell the specific time frame in which this was going on during the fucking 50s. And keeping in mind of during the 50s, what was going on in every TV show? You had the one man who had the work load for the whole household. What did the woman do? She fucking was at home cooking and cleaning and upkeeping the house and all that other stuff. So this was like a 50s trope. Now, of course, feminism really didn't kick in hardcore. I believe like feminism kicked in sometime around the late 19th century. And then it was by the 1920s, women were allowed to vote. And then there was another wave of feminism that ended up happening sometime in the 70s, where women didn't want to be, I guess like a few women, or I don't know how many women. I'm not sure. I'm not counting or anything of that nature. Thank you. I Love Lucy, Bewitched, The Dick Van Dyke Show, Leave It to Beaver. Fucking even, I'm sure that you could possibly even include All in the Family or something like that, even though that was a way later show. That was a 70s show, but it was like during the late 60s, early 70s, there was another rise in feminism. The burning the bras and shit like that. We want equality with men in the workforce and all this other stuff. Fine. I have zero problem with that myself. It's basically like when you use feminism to go out of your way to bitch for shit that doesn't need to be bitched about, that's when I have a problem. And this is an exact problem because this is something that I love is video games. Not her, video games. This shit. This, all of this. I love this. You know? I hate the fact that people are fucking bitching about shit for no fucking reason. Which is the reason why I'm starting to make my own fucking series bashing this whore.
In video games, this is most often accomplished via kidnapping, but it can
Okay.
also take the form of petrification or demon possession, for example.
Oh yeah, of course. You know, whether it be Super Mario Brothers with the Princess Peach being kidnapped by a giant fucking dragon, or in The Legend of Zelda, where Princess Zelda is basically dispelled by a giant fucking demon who is trying to take over Hyrule, and only one 12-year-old boy with a wooden sword will take care of that. You know? Who basically really doesn't have anything to do with the whole kingdom of Hyrule except he lives in it. You know, that was basically it. Thank you, Emily, for correcting me on that part, because I wasn't 100% sure. I wasn't sure if it was like 1920 or 1928, and I didn't want to get the date wrong. You know, because then the feminists would fucking come in my way and slit my throat live on the show. And that's something that I don't want because I like living.
Traditionally, the woman in distress is a family member or love interest of the hero.
Yeah.
Princesses, wives, girlfriends, and sisters are all commonly used to fill the role.
Okay. So what's the problem with that? That just shows that this female in distress, is being saved by somebody who cares about her. Say it with me. Spell it with me first, and then say it with me. Plot. Plot. That is the plot of the fucking game. You know, because motive. No. Bad Anita Sarkeesian.
Of course, the damsel in distress predates the invention of video games by several thousand years.
Yeah.
The trope can be traced back to ancient Greek mythology with the tale of Perseus.
Yeah.
According to the myth, Andromeda is about to be devoured by a sea monster
Nipple.
after being chained naked to a rock as human sacrifice.
So let me ask you something. Is the exposing of the nipple in this painting, is that female empowerment too? Or is she going to bitch about that later?
Perseus slays the beast, rescues the princess, and then claims her as his wife.
Yes.
In the Middle Ages, the damsel in distress
Plot.
was a common feature in many medieval songs, legends, and fairy tales. The saving of a defenseless woman was
Naked.
often portrayed as the raison d'être, or reason for existence, in romance tales and poems of the era, involving a knight-errant, the wandering knight adventuring to prove his chivalry, prowess, and virtue. At the turn of the 20th century, victimized young women became the cliché of choice for the nascent American film industry, as it provided an easy and sensational plot device for the silver screen. A famous early example is the 1913 Keystone Cops short Barney Oldfield's Race for a Life, which
They
features the now
drugged her.
iconic scene of a woman being tied to the railroad tracks by an evil mustache-twirling villain.
Yeah. That's
Around the
classic.
same time, the motif of a giant monkey carrying away a screaming woman
Ape. There is a difference between an ape and a monkey. Why is it every time I stop this video, she looks drunk? She probably is recording this shit. That's where the $6,000 in fucking shit went to. Drugs and alcohol for just Anita Sarkeesian.
began to gain widespread popularity in media of all kinds. Notably, Tarzan's love interest, Jane, is captured by a brutish primate in Edgar Rice Burroughs' 1912 pulp adventure, Tarzan and the Apes.
Yes.
In 1930, Walt Disney used this meme in an early Mickey Mouse cartoon called The Gorilla Mystery.
Okay.
The imagery...
Yeah, because the fucking monkey snuck up behind Minnie Mouse and kidnapped her. She had no idea of what was going on. Now, let's see. Now, let's say that in like just as a hypothetical situation, how empowering do you think he would be if if that was you in that situation, Anita Sarkeesian, if somebody snuck up from behind you and kidnapped your ass and made it so you were not able to defend yourself, do you think you're going to be empowered by that? No. Because the thing is that if you are kidnapped, you then become the damsel in distress. And the person that cares about you the most is going to be the one to validate themselves by rescuing you. Plot, motive. These are two key elements in these type of damsel in distress fucking video games.
It was even exploited by the US military in this recruitment poster for World War I.
Monkey!
But it was in 1933 that two things happened, which 50 years later would set the stage for the damsel in distress trope to become a foundational element in video games as a medium.
Okay.
First, Paramount Pictures introduced their animated series Popeye the Sailor to cinema
I love
audiences.
Popeye.
The formula for most shorts would involve Popeye rescuing a kidnapped olive oil. Second,
Look, see, obviously you see in that video, Olive Oil tried to fight back, but Bluto is too big and too strong. She can't get away. Okay, so you need in order to fucking save her. Why? Because Popeye and Olive Oil are an item. He cares about Olive Oil a lot. Derp. Fucking derp.
in March of that year, RKO Pictures releases its groundbreaking hit film King Kong, in which a giant ape abducts a young woman
Yeah.
and is eventually killed while trying to keep possession of her.
Monkey.
Fast forward to 1981, when a Japanese company named Nintendo entrusted a young designer named Shigeru Miyamoto with the task of creating a new arcade game for the American market.
Donkey Kong.
Originally, the project was conceived of as a game starring Popeye the Sailor. But when Nintendo wasn't able to secure the rights, Miyamoto created his own characters to fill the void,
Okay.
heavily influenced by the movie King Kong.
Okay. And she
The
bashes
game's
this
hero
classic.
Jumpman was tasked with rescuing a damsel named the Lady after she's carried off by a giant ape.
How about this? Let's just give one bonus point for fucking feminism on this one. At the for one, okay, her name is Pauline, okay? So the way that you're explaining this shit, she was feminism was struck down because they did not give this woman a name. Because obviously you didn't say Pauline, you just said the lady. Okay, so women are things. How about that? You happy with that one? There, they didn't give her a name because women are things according to the patriarchy of gaming. No, she was kidnapped by a giant fucking monkey. And then you've got Jumpman, the carpenter, who basically is Mario. We all know it's fucking Mario. But even at the time, Mario didn't have a name. He was the carpenter. And Mario's a fucking plumber.
In later versions, she's renamed Pauline.
Oh, thank you.
Although Donkey Kong is perhaps the most famous early arcade game to feature the damsel in distress, it wasn't the first time Miyamoto employed the trope.
Okay.
2 years earlier, he had a hand in designing a 1979 arcade game called Sheriff.
Okay.
In it, a vague female-shaped collection of pixels, referred to as the Beauty, must be
Vague.
rescued from a pack of bandits. The hero is then rewarded with a smooch of victory for his bravery in the end.
Because they're in love, as you can plainly see all the fucking hearts.
A few years later, Miyamoto recycled his Donkey Kong character designs. Pauline became the template for a new damsel named Princess Toadstool, and Jumpman
Yup.
became a certain very famous plumber.
There's nothing wrong with this. That was not consent.
Princess Peach is in many ways the quintessential stock character version of the damsel in distress.
Right.
The ill-fated princess appears in 14 of the core Super Mario Bros. Platformer games.
Okay, let me stop you right there. Granted, okay, she is a playable character in Mario 2. which does, go along your, like your feminist empowerment movement and shit. A female character playing, being playable in a fucking video game. So that's dope. And the same thing goes for like, I don't think I see the game on here, but she is also in Mario 3D World for the Wii U. I do see that she has Super Mario Brothers U on there, but she is also a playable character in 3D World. And in this case, she also gets to cosplay as a kitty. But then again, so does everybody else. Peach became a playable character in the Mario world. Yeah, exactly. Like in Mario 2 and Mario 3D World. And of course, you also have to count in the Smash Brothers games and fucking all of the Mario sports games and shit like that. So like she became a playable character. And granted, yes, I will give one fucking nugget of truth is that in a vast majority of these games, she is the damsel in distress.
And she's kidnapped in 13 of them.
Yes. Yes.
The North American release of Super Mario Bros. 2 in 1988 remains the only game in the core series in which Peach is not kidnapped.
You know what? I gotta say this. It's funny that I bring all of this stuff up as I pause this show. I bring this shit up, and then she talks about it. She spent $6,000+ on research for this? Motherfucker, I know this shit for free. Give me $6,000 if this is the case.
And also the only game in which she's a playable character.
Mario 3D World, you dumbass. And she gets to dress up as a kitty.
Though it should be noted, it wasn't originally created to be a Mario game at all.
Right.
The game was originally released in Japan under a completely different title.
Yume
called
Koju.
Yume Kojo
Doki Doki Panic.
Which roughly translates to Dream Factory Heart-Pounding Panic.
Yeah. And guess what? In that version, there are 2 playable female characters. Mario! Yes, Mario alike.
Nintendo of America thought that the original Japanese release of Super Mario Bros. 2
I've covered this.
And too similar to the first game. So they reskinned and redesigned Doki Doki Panic to star Mario and Luigi instead.
Right.
However, the Japanese game already had 4 playable characters.
2 of which were women. See? Right there. Mama.
So the designers opted to include Toad and the Princess to fill the 2 remaining slots.
Yes.
Building directly on top of the pre-existing character models.
Yeah.
So really,
and which one of those pre-existing character models, the one specifically that you're bitching about Peach being, was replacing another chick?
Really, if we're honest, Peach is kind of accidentally playable in this one.
No, you're wrong, because what did you think? What do you think? That Shigeru Miyamoto was like, should we actually make Bowser a fucking playable character in this? No, let's make it Princess Peach. Or was it like, well, we wanted it to be Bowser, but we accidentally made the fucking sprites look like Princess Peach instead? Oh my god, you're so fucking stupid, Anita.
Still, she had the awesome ability to float for short distances.
Something that was completely different than the other fucking characters. So they gave her, granted the fact that that was also in Yume Koju Doki Doki Panic, where Lala ends up Lala ends up having that ability, and they gave that to Princess Peach, making her unique as opposed to the rest of the characters.
Which came in really handy, especially in the ice levels.
Why would it be so handy in the ice levels? It's handy in every level. Then again, I can beat this fucking game as Toad in roughly around fucking 10 minutes. And I'm pretty sure that I could probably do the same thing with Princess fucking Peach.
Sadly, Peach has never been a playable character again in the main franchise.
3D World.
Even with newer games that feature 4-player options like the new Super Mario Bros. Wii and Wii U, the princess is still excluded from the action.
Now, I watched somebody else fucking cover this, and what they ended up explaining was that it was a part of it was part of the design of the game because of the fact that Princess Peach has that floating ability. So it was hard for them at the time to be able to incorporate that floating ability that they gave Princess Peach in Mario 2 to be able to add her to Super Mario, to New Super Mario Brothers 2, or anything of that nature. But I do believe that they finally figured out how to have her do that in Mario 3D World.
She's been replaced with another Toad instead.
Yeah, because the Mushroom Kingdom is full of these fuckers.
As to allow Nintendo to force her back into the damsel role again and again.
You gotta remember too, like, she's not really that bright. Okay, like, if you spend, like, from 1983 up to what? At the time that this came out, it was in 2013 when this video was released. So it was probably shot sometime in 2012. After she got her big break with the moolah. And so the way that I see it, if she's been kidnapped 13 times, she's basically doing it to herself at this point. Peach is not that bright.
Peach does of course appear in many spin-offs such as the Mario Party, Mario Sports, and Mario Kart series, as well as the Super Smash Bros. Nintendo Universe crossover fighting games.
Feminism for the win on the Mario fucking Smash Brothers shit.
However, all of these spin-offs fall well outside of the core Super Mario series of platformers.
And that's where the problem is. Princess Peach does have her own video game too, by the way.
She is the star of only one adventure, and we'll get to that a little later.
Okay. See?
One way to think about damsel characters is via what's called the subject-object dichotomy. In the simplest terms, subjects act, and objects are acted upon.
I gotta say this. How is it, like, she's using these big words and stuff in order to sound intelligent and shit? I'm cussing like a storm. I'm not that vocal. I don't have a very high vocabulary, and somehow I sound more intelligent than she does.
The subject is the protagonist.
Okay. Fucking we're gonna bash ghosts and goblins now?
The one who the story is centered on, and the one doing most of the action. In video games, this is almost always the main playable character, and the one from whose perspective most of the story is seen. So the damsel trope typically makes men the subject of narratives, while relegating women to the role of object.
I would love to see her feminist outlook on Tetris. I'd like to see her spin that to make it sound like it's, like, fucking male-dominated. I would love to hear that.
This is a form of objectification because as objects, damseled women are being acted upon.
See, like she just said it herself, women are things.
Most often becoming or reduced to a prize to be won, a treasure to be found, or a goal to be achieved.
Yeah, because, I mean, if I had a girlfriend and she was kidnapped, my goal would be to save her. My objective is to save her. Because prior to the fucking kidnapping, I was fucking my girlfriend. Now, I'm not able to because she was kidnapped. My objective is to save her, and the goal is to continue fucking her. That's my objective. That is my goal, that is the plot, and that is the motive. What the fuck are you talking about, Anita?
The brief intro sequence accompanying many classic arcade games tends to reinforce the framing of women as a possession that's been stolen from the protagonist.
Women are things. See, look, and a vampire kidnaps the dude's wife in Haunted Castle. Okay? Because the bad guy, key note here, bad guy, the villain, the antagonist. It's a story. This is a story, and this is creating the plot element as to why hubby wants to save wife. so he can defeat the villain in order to continue to actually be, well, I mean, in this game specifically, since they just got married, they just left the church, and they haven't even been able to have time to consummate the relationship, I can understand why the guy would want to save his wife. Lolo! Okay. I mean, like, do you think, like, I mean, like, what, like, for real, I need to ask this question. So, let's say the antagonist of the video game has a choice between kidnapping a person's girlfriend or kidnapping a person's best friend. What do you think is going to be the bigger motivation? Because I have high doubts that it's not going to be the best friend. The best friend is probably, the dude's probably just going to be like, okay, yeah, you know what? Sorry, dude, but you're going to cook. I'm over here banging my chick. And granted, yes, this is kind of coming from a male frame of mind, but still. And then you're going to fucking sit here and bash Joe and Mac? This is caveman times, Neanderthalic times. Remember the plot and the fucking motive. And then you also have to take a look at the fucking time frame of these games. Like, especially for something like Joe and Mac, where it's a fantasy-based timepiece. Because, they're caveman ninjas. I mean, it is fucked up, but I'm right. Okay, yeah, so, like, yeah. Do you really think that knight is going to sit and do nothing when his girlfriend is being kidnapped and abducted by Satan himself? Do you really think the dude's going to be like, I'm sure that there's plenty of fish in the sea, and let me continue to sharpen my fucking javelin here?
The hero's fight to retrieve his stolen property
It looks better already.
Lazy justification for the actual gameplay.
Shut up.
At its heart, the damsel trope is not really about women at all. She simply becomes the central object in a competition between men, at least in its traditional incarnations.
Men and, in the case of Donkey Kong, monkey. Man and monkey. In Super Mario Brothers, man and dragon. I don't understand how you see this problem.
I've heard it said that in the game of patriarchy, women are not the opposing team, they are the ball. So for example, we can think of the Super Mario franchise as a grand game being played between Mario and Bowser, and Princess Peach's role is essentially that of the ball.
And they show Peach in a fucking ball. Well, bubble, but whatever. And honestly, like, she doesn't look that scared in this game, so, this is like something that I had talked about in the past, probably on my own channel, where, like, the running joke now has been like, okay, so she's been kidnapped 13 times as of the time of this video being released in 2013. Mario probably hasn't had it dawn on him yet that maybe it's an inside thing where Bowser's not kidnapping Peach. Bowser is kidnapping Peach. If you know what I'm saying. She's playing both sides. That's why she's the ball. Because Mario is going to save her from her kidnapping. Which means that Peach knows that her and Bowser only have a limited amount of time, if you know what I'm saying. It's all a game.
Men are tossing her back and forth over the course of the main series, each trying to keep and take possession of the damsel ball.
See, let's keep this in mind too. Like, by her definition, if the damsel in distress is the ball, then Peach is the fucking tennis ball in Mario Tennis. That's where she fucking comes in playing Mario Tennis. She's not a playable character. She's literally the ball. I don't know. I've never played Mario Tennis. I don't really like sports games all that much unless it's wrestling, in which women have been empowered in that. That might explain where all those little turdlets are coming from, right? Look, Mario's holding the ball.
Even though Nintendo certainly didn't invent the damsel in distress, the popularity of their Save the Princess formula essentially set the standard for the industry.
It's a classic fucking tale. Have you ever heard of the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? This isn't a broken fucking plot line. So and on top of that, this has been going on with the Mario series specifically since 1983. Maybe even before that, 1981 with Pauline and shit like that. So why is this such a big problem for you?
The trope quickly became the go-to motivational hook for developers, as it provided an easy way to tap into adolescent male power fantasies.
What? Hold on a fucking second.
Really set the standard for the industry. The trope quickly became the go-to motivational hook for developers, as it provided an easy way to tap into adolescent male power fantasies.
Did I just not say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Let me ask you something, okay? Somewhere in this house, my mother has totes full of romantic fantasy novels. You know, stuff from like J.D. Robb or Daniel Steele, so on and so forth. I've lived around all of these and stuff. Every single one of them has a cover of Fabio with his long flowing blonde hair holding a woman. You know, and the woman is wearing tattered and torn clothes and shit like that. Like, this is in almost every single fucking book like this. You know what I'm saying? What did she call it? Hold on, let me rewind it. I'll let her fucking say it again.
Really set the standard for the industry. The trope quickly became the go-to motivational hook for developers, as it provided an easy way to tap into adolescent male power fantasies.
Adolescent male power fantasies. Basically, I guess what she's trying to say is that the gamer is going, you know, it's like another one of those Jack Thompson arguments. It's a Jack Thompson argument. In this case, it's like, it's basically saying that the gamer is getting a rush from the feeling that the male character has more empowerment over the woman, because the woman is a damsel in distress at all times in these type of games. No. It's like I've said multiple times in this stream already as it is. It is a love interest, just like you said. It is either a family member or a love interest, okay? If a family member of mine or a fucking love interest of mine is kidnapped, I'm going to do everything in my power to try to make sure that they're saved. We might get to that in a minute. But actually, no, Twiggy, I'll tell you this. So, like you said, how the hell do you explain Black Widow or Wonder Woman? Feminists don't talk about that. No, because, you know, if it's female empowering, it's ignored. But if it's male dominated, by the, you know, in the eyes of a feminist, it's patriarchy.
In order to sell more games to young straight boys and men.
Okay, so what's the problem in that? I mean, if that's the prominent demographic in a fucking that a company is going to get money from, why wouldn't you fucking exploit that? Just a thought, just a playful thought. Yeah, help her. Actually, when you save her, I don't know, you might want to keep her in that ball and chain. She might be excited by that, who knows? Female empowerment. Dude, fucking April O'Neil, you're gonna bitch about April O'Neil? Like, April O'Neil is like on the cruxus of being the damsel in distress or being the badass. Have you ever watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? What the fuck is wrong with you? And now you're gonna bitch about Splatterhouse? I'm surprised that you're not bitching about the gore in Splatterhouse. This dude went through some shit in order to save his bitch. Like, for real, you're gonna complain about Splatterhouse? The fuck is wrong with you? Somebody in the chat is getting excited watching this shit, and I know it's not my dude friends.
Throughout the 80s and 90s, the trope became so prevalent that it would be nearly impossible to mention them all. There were literally hundreds of examples showing up in platformers, side-scrolling beat-em-ups,
Yeah.
first-person shooters, and role-playing games alike.
Oh my... What? No! You're not gonna fucking try to bash one of my favorite fucking franchises in this one. No! This is not damsel in distress shit. What the fuck? Okay, just because, look, she's a princess, okay? The motive of the bad guy is to usually kidnap a princess and does so successfully in order to try to gain power for himself. The villain is the villain in this particular part of the game. The villain is the one who is trying to incorporate male-dominated empowerment. Garland, the villain, is trying to gain power by kidnapping a princess. Not to mention, I hate to bust your fucking bubble with this, Anita Sarkeesian, but in Final Fantasy, there is a female-empowered character, the White Mage. And she is the one that is going to ensure that all of the dumb fucking penis-wielding males in the game, in the party are going to survive. Okay? The fighter, big fucking idiot. The black belt, big fucking idiot. The thief, not as much of a big fucking idiot, but still a pretty big fucking idiot. The black mage, pretty much smart on a lot of things because his intelligence is up, but still kind of a big fucking idiot because he's attacking fucking enemies that are like 4 times bigger than him. That is kind of stupid shit. Like, and forefront on top of that. Red mage, also a pretty big fucking idiot. White mage, on the other hand, one of my favorite roles, is actually depicted as a fucking female. What in the fuck is wrong with this?
Let's take a quick moment to clear up some common misconceptions about this trope.
Okay.
As a plot device, the damsel in distress is often grouped with other separate tropes, including the designated victim, the heroic rescue, and the smooch of victory. However, it's important to remember that these associated conventions are not necessarily a part of the damsel in distress trope itself. So the woman in question may or may not play the victim role for the entire game or series, while our brave hero may or may not be successful in his rescue attempt.
Well, I mean, there is that, but you have to admit that the dude did everything in his power to try to do what he could to save her, even though she died. He was just too late.
All that is really required to fulfill the damsel in distress trope is for a female character to be reduced to a state of helplessness from which she requires rescuing by a typically male hero for the benefit of his story arc.
Just his? What about hers? What about the villains? Everybody in this has a fucking plot and a motive. It's not just, just these games are fucking saying that all females are fucking powerless and helpless and they need men in order to fucking save their lives. Or whatever the fuck it is that you're trying to promote here.
This brings us to the other famous Nintendo princess. In 1986, Shigeru Miyamoto doubled down on his damsel in distress formula with the NES release of The Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
This was the first in what would become one of the most beloved action-adventure game franchises of all time.
And I am going to bash it because Link has a penis.
The Legend of Zelda continues.
Find the crystals. Rescue the princess.
Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link on Nintendo.
Okay.
Now you're playing with power.
Over the course of more than a dozen games spanning a quarter century, all of the incarnations of Princess Zelda have been kidnapped, cursed, possessed, turned to stone, or otherwise disempowered at some point.
Yeah. By the bad guy. So he can have power of his own. You know, Ganondorf, Ganon, the character of Ganon, the antagonist of the fucking franchise, is trying to take over Hyrule. And he is trying to say, I'm going to stop at nothing in order to try to gain power over Hyrule. That means I have to fucking lay waste to the princess of Hyrule. Okay. And then you've got some dick who lives in Hyrule who ends up being like, I will save her in my gay green tunic, but he's gonna fucking do it. Okay. I can guarantee you she did not record any of this fucking game footage or played any of these herself. Now, let's keep it in mind, of course, they didn't really explain much about why it is that people had to use magic spells in order to encapsulate Princess Zelda. You know why? Because she is very fucking powerful as a mage. She is an elf with magic abilities. Now, she's not focusing on RPG games solely. Like, she's focusing on, like, all sorts of games and trying to fucking explain the whole damsel in distress thing and making it sound like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You know, this empowers everybody. You know, both male and female alike. Imagine being a girl gamer playing The Legend of Zelda, and you're like, I have to save my fucking fellow woman. Okay, so that gives you the motive, you being part of the plot, in order, especially since you can name the character. You know, like, originally, you couldn't even really tell if Link was actually a male or a female, especially since he's a fucking elf, and most elves usually do look androgynous to begin with. However, keeping in mind, of course, that the reason why she has to be encapsulated with magic is because she is a magical being herself. She also turns into the Sheik. Derp.
Zelda has never been the star in her own adventure, nor been a true playable character in the core series.
So?
However, it must be said that not all damsels are created equal, and Zelda is occasionally given a more active or integral role to play than her counterpart in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Right.
Unlike Peach, Zelda is not completely defined by her role as Ganondorf's perpetual kidnap victim.
Okay.
And in a few later games, she even rides the line between damsel and sidekick.
Okay, so
Remember,
where's the problem?
Damsel in Distress's plot device is something that happens to a female character, and not necessarily something a character is from start to finish. Once in a while, she might be given the opportunity to have a slightly more active role in facilitating the hero's quest.
Yeah.
Typically by opening doors, giving...
Look at, she used magic to open the fucking door. It's no wonder why why Ganondorf has to use even more powerful magic in order to encapsulate her.
hints, power-ups, and other helpful items.
Yeah.
I call this variant on the theme the helpful damsel.
So how is this bad? She's helping.
Indeed, Zelda is at her best.
There you go, Sheik. Yeah, see? There you go. This should help your argument, and somehow I'm pretty sure you're gonna fuck it up.
When she takes the form of Sheik in Ocarina of Time and Tetra in The Wind Waker.
Okay.
In Ocarina of Time, Zelda avoids capture for the first 3/4 of the game. Disguised as Sheik, she is a helpful and active participant in the adventure, and she's shown to be more than capable.
Yeah.
However, as soon as she transforms back into her more stereotypically feminine form of Princess Zelda, she's captured within 3 minutes.
Yeah. It might have something to do with the fact that, okay, she is not paying attention, and here's some more powerful, or here's some magic that's more powerful than your ass, encapsulating you.
Literally 3 minutes. I timed it. Her rescue then becomes central to the end of Link's quest.
Okay.
Similarly, in The Wind Waker, Tetra is a feisty and impressive young pirate captain. But as soon as she's revealed to be and transformed into her more stereotypically feminine form of Princess Zelda, she's told that she's no longer allowed to accompany Link on the adventure because it's suddenly too dangerous for her. She's ordered to wait in the castle, which she does until she's eventually kidnapped, while waiting obediently in the same spot.
Plot.
It is noteworthy that in the very last stage of the boss battle, she does help Link fight Ganondorf for a few brief minutes, which is a refreshing change. However, the next time Tetra's incarnation appears in 2007's The Phantom Hourglass,
I have to interrupt on this one because it just dawned on me. It's like, okay, so why is it? Like, believe me when I say this, I have never played Wind Waker. Like, I didn't really get too much into the Zelda series after the second one. I got grounded a lot, so I wasn't able to play Link to the Past. You know, and by the time that the Nintendo 64 came out, I really didn't have interest in playing Ocarina of Time and things. Yeah, she legitimately sat there with a fucking stopwatch and sat there watching the stopwatch to see how long it took before she fucking got kidnapped. This is where $6,000 of fucking research money went into. Buying a stopwatch and watching a fucking YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm just going to go on the guesstimation. I actually want to see if there's anybody in the fucking, anybody else that's watching, that's watching this that might be a gamer that has played Wind Waker. The question that I'm wondering is, why is it that when you fight Ganondorf, she is able to help you? Is it because maybe he possibly, I'm just going on a guess on this, I'm just spitballing at this point. Is it possible that he might have been in a weakened state of being able to use, not being able to use as much magic as before, that she is able to fucking help because now she is prepared. She is able now. She has the capability to do so, to help Link fight Ganondorf. What's the reason why that she's able to help at this given moment in time when she, because like if you're trying to say that she is an empowered female this entire time, she could have helped herself, thus not letting the game be a fucking thing. Did you not think this through, Anita Sarkeesian?
she's kidnapped immediately during the intro.
Okay.
Later, she's turned to stone and then kidnapped for a second time.
Yes.
It's disappointing that even with her moments of heroism, Zelda is still damseled. She is removed from the action, pushed aside, and made helpless at least once in every game she appears in.
That's not a problem. It's still showing some sort of a fucking empowerment at some given point in time during the fucking character story arc. Okay. Are we gonna watch the whole fucking commercial?
This brings us to one of the core reasons why the trope is so problematic and pernicious for women's representations.
This is not that big of a fucking deal. I don't understand what your problem is.
The damsel in distress is not just a synonym for weak. Instead, it works by ripping away the power from female characters.
That's kind of the point. It drives the plot line.
Even helpful or seemingly capable ones.
Like, you're bitching if they were to take this out of the video games, they wouldn't exist. Tropes like this would not be able to be used if you won this fucking argument.
No matter what we're told about their magical abilities, skills, or strengths, they're still ultimately captured or otherwise incapacitated and then must wait for rescue.
Yeah, because they're encapsulated. Because they are kidnapped. And they are stripped of their shit because there's an even more powerful villain that figured out a way. It's a mind thing. It's basically the fucking villain, the bad guy, the antagonist, the heel, fucking came up with a plot to figure out a way on how to encapsulate this person who is powerful as fuck in order to try to gain power for themselves. And then the good guy, penis or not, takes it upon himself to fight something that's even more powerful than him, overthrow that motherfucker, and bring power back to the fucking damsel in distress. How is this a problem?
Distilled down to its essence, the plot device works by trading the disempowerment of female characters for the empowerment of male characters.
No, the villain! That's actually pretty funny. I could imagine skinheads kidnapping Madonna back in the 80s.
Let's compare the damsel to the archetypal hero myth, in which a typically male character...
What the fuck happened? Did your video fuck up?
Let's compare the damsel to the archetypal hero myth, in which a typically male character may occasionally...
Okay, so we have a typical male hero character. You show Solid Snake, okay, which basically is in a franchise that makes fun of itself. You have Toon Link, which is basically a 12-year-old boy. And then you have Fox McCloud, an anthropomorphic fox!
also be harmed, incapacitated, or briefly imprisoned at some point during their journey.
Yeah.
In these situations, the character relies on their intelligence, cunning, and skill to engineer their own escape.
Oh my god.
Better.
Or, just punching a hole in the prison wall works too.
I mean, hey, if it works for fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, it can work for fucking Snake.
The point is, they're ultimately able to gain back their own freedom. In fact, that process of overcoming the ordeal is an important step in the protagonist's transformation into a heroic figure. A damseled woman, on the other hand, is shown as incapable of escaping the predicament on her own.
See, when they're in shackles, it's kind of hard to be able to fucking get out of shackles. Or chains, or in Zelda's case, a fucking capsulation thing inside of a fucking room. So she's inside of a thing, inside of a room, that's inside of a castle, that's inside of a fucking rock. How do you not figure this out? Okay, meanwhile, the fucking good guy, he's kind of given the opportunity. But you know what the thing about that is it's you're looking at it from an inside view that is a problematic fucking focal point. Have you not figured out that if you are a woman playing the game, guiding the character, you are the one who has to figure this out in order to get the character out of the bad sticky situation? Not to mention, that kind of shit drives the plot line to try to save the damsel in distress.
And then must wait for a savior to come and do it for her.
Do you think Princess Peach is going to be able to fucking get out of a cage that is suspended in the air above a goddamn volcano? No, she has to be fucking saved by an idiot with a fucking propeller on his head.
In this way, the damsel's ordeal is not her own. Instead, it's framed as a trial for the hero to overcome. Consequently, the trope robs women in peril from the opportunity of being the architects of their own escape, and therefore prevents them from becoming archetypal heroes themselves.
I never want to see Princess Peach in fucking overalls. Ever.
Today, many old-school damsel games are being resurrected for modern platforms, services, and mobile devices, as publishers are in a rush to cash in on gaming nostalgia and capitalize on any recognizable characters from years gone by.
Okay.
For example, Sega's 1993 platformer Sonic CD,
oh my God,
featuring a damseled Amy Rose, has been enhanced and made available for download on a wide variety of modern platforms.
Okay, so you're gonna fucking argue that because Amy Rose is a damsel in distress kidnapped by a fucking robot that she's not going to be able to get this shit taken care of herself? And that's problematic. She's being kidnapped by a fucking robot. A robot!
Jordan Mechner's famous Karateka and Prince of Persia games, originally released for the Apple II home computer in the 1980s, have both seen modern HD remakes.
Okay. Oh, it's Milan. Nice.
And the 1983 animated Laserdisc game Dragon's Lair, with ditzy Princess Daphne, has been ported to just about every system imaginable.
Yeah.
Please save me. The cage is locked with a key. The
Wow, she's got protruding ass fucking nipples. That's awesome.
dragon keeps it around his neck. To slay the dragon, use the magic sword.
Remember Pauline, damsel of the classic Donkey Kong arcade? Well, she's also been revived. First in 1994's Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, and later in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series for the Nintendo DS.
Okay.
Each game features a rehashing of the old excuse plot, with Pauline being whisked away by the giant ape during the opening credits. The now iconic opening seconds of the 1987 beat-em-up arcade game Double Dragon has Marion being punched in the stomach, thrown over the shoulder of a thug, and
No, she didn't get punched in the stomach. She just got punched in the fucking twat.
carried away. In several versions,
Ah, you can see her panties too.
her panties are clearly shown to the player while she's being abducted.
Well, yeah, because if she's wearing that short of a skirt in the fucking 80s and she's hiked over somebody's fucking shoulder, then of course her panties are gonna show.
The game has been remade, re-released, and ported to dozens of systems over the past 25 years,
Yeah.
ensuring that Marion will be battered and damseled for each new generation to enjoy.
See, like, this is gang shit right here. Like, did you not fucking understand that this is a possible fucking gang attack? You know, so, like, a gang is fucking antagonizing the dragons, and the girl is the fucking bait.
Most recently, Double Dragon Neon in 2012 reintroduced new gamers to this regressive crap yet again, this time in full HD.
Okay, so now all you're fucking doing is just saying, "Oh yeah, this is just crap." Fuck you. Like, just hands down, god damn it, fuck you. Like, Jesus Christ. Oh damn, that actually was cool. Hold on, let me see that again.
Most recently, Double Dragon Neon in 2012 reintroduced new gamers to this regressive crap yet again, this time in full HD.
Like, I find that funny because she calls it regressive crap, but it's a timeless fucking plot line. If it's been going on for for 1,000 years, this is not that big of a fucking issue. Now watch this. Watch when he fucking socks her in the stomach and she actually has like HP points removed from her. Hey, this time you didn't see your panties, so hey, progressive feminism progressed.
The pattern of
Not to mention socking a woman in the stomach is fucking equality like a motherfucker. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You know, you want equality. We beat the shit out of each other. Men beat the shit out of each other. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe off camera she talked some shit and then, she was drunk in the fucking alley talking shit to gang members and they just came up and socked her in the stomach. That's their motivation? Maybe, I don't know.
presenting women as fundamentally weak, ineffective, or ultimately incapable has larger ramifications beyond the characters themselves and the specific games they inhabit. We have to remember that these games don't exist in a vacuum.
See, like this is something that you need to take a look at. Take a look at your own fucking picture that you practically stole. This right here is showing that the world, if not the world, then maybe just the United States, has practically accepted Mario and the trope that you're bitching about with the damsel in distress and Princess Peach being kidnapped by a giant fucking dragon. The entirety of North America has actually accepted this, and you are legitimately one of the few only people that are fucking crying about this.
They are an increasingly important and influential part of our larger social and cultural ecosystem. The reality is, this trope is being used in a real-world context where backward sexist attitudes are already rampant. It's a sad fact that a large percentage of the world's population still clings to the deeply sexist belief that women as a group need to be sheltered, protected, and taken care of by men.
Some women are about that. Some women aren't. Personally, if you want my honest opinion, I fully support female equality with men. Not to your insane fucking levels, but I personally think that women should be able to be in the workplace. I personally think that women should be given what they've deserved for fucking for hourly pay rate and shit like that. You know, like, I believe in all of that. But also at the same time, you also have to remember you're playing a fucking video game. A fucking video game. It's not real! And you're complaining about something that is fictional characters.
The belief that women are somehow a naturally weaker gender
In fantasy.
is a deeply ingrained, socially constructed myth,
No, it's not.
which of course is completely false.
Half the time it is. I want to know something, Anita Sarkeesian. Have you been privy whatsoever about sex trafficking? Guess what they are? The women that are being kidnapped for sex trafficking in the media is ignoring. You know, because everybody's so fucking gung-ho about proving that either Joe Biden's a pedophile or Donald Trump is a racist. And nobody's talking about that shit, which I'm pretty sure that people who watch this shit have probably heard about it on the conspiracy theory with Warlockside. But nobody talks about that shit, the sex trafficking and stuff like that. Here's a real-life situation where you've got a plethora of damsels in distress and nobody's saving them. Why? Because everybody's too fucking worried about their own feminist rights movements.
But the notion is reinforced and perpetuated when women are continuously portrayed as frail, fragile, and vulnerable creatures.
Story plot!
Just to be clear, I'm not saying that all games that use the damsel in distress as a plot device are automatically sexist or have no value.
Yes, you are! You totally are! You just spent like 20 fucking minutes bitching about the whole situation. What the hell is wrong with you, Anita? Oh my god! Dude. Like, oh my god, Anita! No! You spent 20 minutes fucking bitching about the damsel in distress shit. In movies, in video games, in pictures, in fucking pastime shit. You just spent the entire 20 minutes fucking bitching about that, and now you're gonna fucking backpedal? No! No! You fucking stuck your shit into this mess, and you are not allowed to fucking backpedal on this shit. No! Bad Anita! Bad Anita!
But it's undeniable that popular culture is a powerful influence in our lives, and the damsel in distress trope as a recurring trend does help to normalize extremely toxic, patronizing, and paternalistic attitudes about women.
No! Fucking Christ! No! Like, dude, there are fucking dudes out there that are absolute white knights on the internet, in real life, shit like that.
Now, I grew up on Nintendo. I've
Okay, so you have a picture of you with a controller.
been a fan of the Mario and Zelda franchises for most of my life, and they'll always have a special place in my heart,
That is a totally 80s couch.
as I'm sure is true for a great number of gamers out there. But it's still important to recognize and think critically about the more problematic aspects.
You know what that is? That picture of her holding the Super Nintendo controller? That is her at the age of 8 fucking saying, I'm going to use this in the future to empower women. And she's probably looking at a blank screen.
especially considering many of these franchises are as popular as ever, and the characters have become worldwide icons.
Yeah, gee, I wonder why. Because there's so many fucking people our age, Anita, that are still playing these fucking games on multiple platforms. You know, like, take a look at my fucking shit, alright? I've got every Nintendo fucking system short of a Super Nintendo and a Nintendo Switch. I help support this shit. You know why? Because the damsel in distress thing is actually a good story. It creates plot for the fucking game to even exist. It creates the motive of both the bad guy and the good guy. Okay, if the bad guy was fucking kidnapping another dude, who gives a shit? But if somebody that is in high power that is being kidnapped because the villain wants to have more power than they already have, that creates a fucking motive for them. It creates a motive for the fucking main character that you play as, the boyfriend, husband, fucking significant other in the situation, trying to save their significant other or kin or something like that. It creates the plot element. How many more times do I have to fucking say this shit?
The good news is that there's nothing stopping developers from evolving their gender representations and
No,
making
there's
more
not. I
women
agree to
heroes in
that.
their future games. It'd be great to finally see Zelda, Sheik, and Tetra as the protagonists of their own games.
I mean, I'm not gonna fucking complain about that, but you just fucking complained about Princess Peach having her own fucking game and that it's not part of the fucking main core plot of The Legend of Zelda. Or on Super Mario Brothers, my bad. You just fucking complained about Princess Peach having her own fucking video game, but it's not part of the core elements of Super Mario Brothers. You just complained about fucking Peach being just a cover up of another female character from, from mock up video game from Japan. It's like, there's no pleasing you, you fucking bitch.
And not just mobile DS games, I'm talking full on console adventures. Okay, so we've established that the damsel in distress trope is one of the most widely used gendered cliches in the history of video games,
And nobody gives a shit.
and has been core to the popularization and development of gaming as a medium. But
So,
what about more modern games? Has anything changed in the past 10 years? Well, stay tuned for part 2, where I'll be looking at more contemporary examples of the damsel in distress trope.
well,
We'll
I'm
look at all
probably
the
not
dark
going
and
to cover
edgy
that.
twists and turns and see how the convention has been used and abused right up until today. Then we'll check out some games where developers have tried to flip the script on the damsel. I would like to extend a big thank you to all of my backers on Kickstarter who have continued to support.
Okay, shut up. Nobody cares. So, all in all, basically, this is talking about the tropes that came out in the old school video games and shit like that. And since I'm an old school person, like, I feel that this is something that needed to be fucking addressed, even though this thing has been butchered absolutely to death in the past. My synopsis on this is that this chick is fucking stupid and or insane, and that she's going out of her way to fucking look for these tropes, to bitch about this shit, and cherry pick the things that she wants to fucking bitch about, and not express the positive things that go on in video games. You bitch about this shit, why do you play this? If you play this game, if you play these games, then you have absolutely nothing to fucking bitch about. You're wrong in saying this shit, that's saying, oh yeah, you're able to enjoy the game but still fucking have a criticism about the game. Well, if that's the case, then you would stop playing games altogether because they are too much for boys, which is not even the case. Because there are some other games that are out there that I'm sure that you have picked up on that have actually been more female oriented, and then you bitch about that, or something that's actually gender neutral, and you're probably going to say, well, that's not feminist enough. So, and I'm just guessing on this because I have yet to see the entirety of this fucking series. And to me, this is a huge load of problems as far as I'm concerned. You know, so it's like, it's basically bitching for the fucking sake of bitching. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. Except you gave me your fucking reason. You know, like, and to be perfectly honest, like, I know that this is beating a dead horse, the whole Gamergate thing and everything, but this is something that I actually missed because I was on hiatus from YouTube at the time that this was going on, so I knew no knowledge about Gamergate. What I knew is that this chick fucking did something that pissed off the entirety of gamers, and she somehow found a way to fucking capitalize on that shit. Which, hey, you know, no shame in her game on that shit. If you're able to fucking make money fucking people out of it, uh, you know, by all means, do your thing, boo boo. But as far as I'm concerned, when you're talking about video games in general, some of the franchises that I fell in love with since I was a fucking tot, since you were a fucking tot, that's where I end up having a problem with this. And this is it for the first period piece of this shit. I'm gonna fucking go down the barrel and talk about more shit when it concerns the things that she fucking brought up with a lot of these tropes and a lot of the other things with you know, with the video game shit. It just, it severely fucking pisses me off. It severely fucking pisses me off that, like, that, you know, you're basically fucking taking issue with something of this nature. You know, like, the thing is like, you absolutely act like that the whole damsel in distress thing or male over female bullshit is supposed to be like part of the patriarchy and shit like that. Guess what? With Nintendo being the most powerful fucking company out there in the video game in the gaming industry, you know what their credo basically was when it concerned what games were to fucking come out? That video games should be fun for everybody. Everybody in the family deserves these fucking things. This is the reason why the pack-in game for the Game Boy was Tetris. They had a choice between Tetris and Super Mario Land, and this is actually information that came from the fucking gaming historian. If the pack-in title was Super Mario Land, then the Game Boy would just be a boy's toy. But if it's with Tetris, it's fun for everyone. And that's something that you apparently missed in your fucking research that you spent $6,000 on or more in order to fucking do. Me, on the other hand, I got this information for free. And I know more about gaming than you do, bitch. With that being said, I'm getting the fuck up out of here. I'm Kreyz McKormik. Thank you for watching the Retrospective. Tune in next week, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. And also, make sure that you check out my channel, Kreyz McKormik, on Twitch. Check my panel. There is a link in the in that description of my bio for my actual Twitch channel, where I go ahead and I play fucking old school video games, retro games, and speed runs and things of that nature. I'm gonna be on there later tonight, sometime around maybe 10 o'clock or earlier. I'll be doing some other shit, playing Mega Man X Command Mission. That's where I'm at right now. So with that being said, I'm Kreyz McKormik. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow this if you haven't already. Sid Jones Network and my channel. All right. Later, y'all. Deuces.